please direct your attention to your listening device for the show that believes there is no such thing as useless sports knowledge. This is the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, sports trivia for those of us who rode the pine. You are listening to episode number 342, which is also the number of career home runs of Evan Longoria. I would have taken the under. I would have had him nowhere near there. I'm your host tonight, David Lux, and tonight's game will feature an all-benchwarmer game with Josh Snyder and Dave Wartz versus the team of Scott and Mason. Let's start with Josh. Josh, how are you this evening?
Doing all right. Came in from the cold. Of course, I know those of you who are actually in northern climes, this is nothing, but we got like a foot of snow and then about 4 inches of ice on top of it. So the area is just digging out from it because all we did here in Baltimore was pour Old Bay all over everything, and it didn't really. So it was kind of like if you take like an undercooked brownie and then you put it in the freezer for a really long time, let it get really good and frostbitten. And then you got to break that up. So we took everybody outside, chipping away at it. That's what we were doing. And that was fun. And my daughter wanted me to share that she's doing a really interesting science project right now where she's got to describe all of the parts of the cell as if they were people living in an estate. So she's still working on it. It's about 1,300 words right now. Probably the assignment was only like 300 words, but she's overdoing it. We're proud of her. So yeah.
I'm trying to think where that would even go, but
it goes nowhere. It goes to the birthday boy because it's a non sequitur segue because that's what I do.
That's right. And right, it is Dave's birthday. He's another year older, and he already had an extremely cynical look on his face when you were describing your weather conditions. So, Dave, happy birthday!
Yeah, that's true. Well, thank you. I also really want to know when you have that family laid out, what is the mitochondria? I mean, it's the powerhouse of the cell. But
it's the electrician apparently, and her name is Andrea. Andrea, the mitochondria. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, because it's my birthday, I had a fun opportunity to kind of look at associative celebrities, right? And I'll tell you right now, January 29th is a terrible birthday, sans Oprah, because, of course, it's Oprah. But if you look at the sports world, the names that are on there are just very random. We have like Rob Baronis, former MVP Jose Abreu, I guess in the 2020 Mickey Mouse year, Xavier Legette, Andre Reed, Bulls rookie AJ Dybantsa, but my personal favorite, which is what we are going off of in team name, is former place kicker for the Indianapolis Colts, Rodrigo Blankenship. So we're going to be shooting Blankenships.
I love it. Like you sank my Blankenships. All right. You don't.
I just had a child. At this point, I know I'm not shooting Blankenships.
That's fair enough. All right, Scott and Mason. Mason, speaking of people who don't shoot blanks, how you doing?
Segue. That's what I get. Okay.
Well, hey, look, that's all I have.
That's fair. Yeah, sure.
What do you want from me?
Okay, sure. Someone with 2 young kids, I guess.
The finest compliment, Mason.
That's
Mason. When the number of children is the same as the first number of your age, yeah, you don't shoot blanks.
It's true. All right, Mason, what you got?
Okay. No, I just wasn't expecting that. I'm doing okay. I can't really complain too much about weather, I guess, because different than last year, which was a week off of school because of insane snow. No, we just shut down one day because we can't handle ice or anything cold.
No one can.
Anything. Yeah, well, especially us. So yeah, instead of Old Bay, they put the crawfish boil on the roads. I guess that's how they de-ice it.
Nice.
But yeah, that's about it. My students thought they would be off the whole week for some reason. They're like, "Oh, we missed one day. Time to wrap the whole thing up." That's not how that works. So they're really mad.
The precedent from last year, Mason. Right? That's what they were.
Yeah,
they
just expect the whole week off for cold weather. But yeah, that is not happening right now.
Entitled kids. Anyway, all right. Well, Scott, how are you this evening?
I'm good. I have 2 questions for Snyder, actually. Or for his daughter, I guess. I'm not sure who could answer this, but one is I'd like to know which bench warmers or which, parts of the cell. I think that'd be a more fun project that I'd be interested in. But
Yeah,
also,
she's
I
not
wanted
interested
to.
in doing that one.
Yeah, well, I am. I might do that. But if Andrea is a mitochondria, does that mean that there's a vacuole named Ashuol?
I believe it's actually Miss Vicoli who is the curator of the estate.
I like that. Okay, good to know. Mason and I have a New Orleans sports themed team name, as we often do, and in honor of Josh Bombach, who allegedly says that we're not allowed to play together, probably because of that one time, I don't know, 4.5 years ago.
It was a
that
long time.
Mason and I named every NFL tight end to try to get to an answer. We thought we'd have a tight end, a Saints tight end inspired team name. And then in figuring that out, I got thirsty for some orange soda. So we decided to honor Juwan Johnson with the team name of Juwana Fanta. Don't
I
you
love
want
it. These are some great names. All right. Well, we've talked long enough, and it's shooting Blankenchips against Joanna Fanta, which I love. So let's get going and get Dan in here for the rule read.
The game will consist of 4 quarters of play, each with a different trivia style. The styles of quarters 1 through 3 will change from show to show, and I will explain them to you as we go along. Like any good sporting event, we will have a halftime show after the second quarter with entertainment questions. And in the fourth quarter, our teams will wager from their points accumulated to see who are today's clipboard captains, to be honored like the true benchwarmers they are. All right, let's get this game underway.
All right. Well, today's first quarter is going to be pre and post game.
Pre and post game. For this quarter, there will be 4 before and after style questions. For example, if I asked, what all-time leader in receptions for the Indianapolis Colts was a Notre Dame safety drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, the answer would be Marvin Harrison Smith. Each question is worth 25 points.
Okay, gents, this whole game might be a little bit baseball heavy, but in our first quarter, half of each of these answers is going to be someone that hit 4 home runs in a game in Major League history. Question number 1. 12-time All-Star who hit 4 home runs on April 17th, 1976, and 548 in his career, and highest drafted quarterback ever out of UNC.
All right, we could check in.
All right, fast check-in by shooting Blankenchips. You want a Fanta? It's time to talk it out. It's supposed to be a question mark at the end of that, because now I'm just going to say it every time.
No, it's more of an exclamation. Have you not seen the commercials?
Of course, right, of course. Oh, yes, that's true. It is more of an exclamation. All right, talk it out.
Second half is Mitch Trubisky.
Right? He was.
All right. He's number 2.
Yeah.
Mitchell.
Yeah,
Work
but
better.
it's not like Kevin Mitchell, because he's definitely not a 12-time All-Star.
Yeah, 76.
Well, the 548
is
the 548 is what's sticking with me. Like
this Mike Schmidt. Does that work?
Mitchell. Oh yeah, that works.
Mitchell.
Yeah, that
Schmidt.
works. Yeah, I was like the 548 kind of stands out because that's a. Is that like Eddie Murray? Yeah, but yeah, Mike Schmidt makes sense.
76 would feel fine time frame wise, so 12-time All-Star also seems fine for him.
Yeah, definitely.
So, okay, so it's gonna be Mike Schmidt Trubisky.
Mike Schmidt or Schmidt. Yeah. I don't know how he's doing it.
Either way, whatever they both flow, I guess, for this. So yeah, Mike Schmitchell Trubisky. There you go. We'll go with that.
All right, and shooting Blankenchips.
Mike Schmidt Trubisky it is.
And Mitch Trubisky was the number 2 pick behind. Anybody? It was Myles Garrett.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I also like that Mason said that Mike Schmidt Trubisky somehow flowed nicely. I appreciate that. I really do. Okay, question number 2. Point guard who won 3 championships with the Lakers in 2000 to 2002 and spent much of the last 20 years as a coach or assistant coach, and the player who held the Dodgers single-season home run record until Shohei Ohtani broke it, who hit 4 home runs on May 23rd, 2002, and also holds the record for most home runs in a game by a Jewish player.
David, we can check in.
All right. Joanna Fanta has checked in. Shooting Blankenchips. You want to talk this out?
Yeah, I think we got it just there at that time. I have a friend who has the exact same name as this player, which is why it always comes back to me.
Sean, Sean, God dang it. Josh, I appreciate the way that we are working right now, right? Like the minute that this baseball thing comes down, I send it right over to you and we lock it in right together. So yeah, go ahead, take it away. I had to compliment the teamwork right now that's going on.
Yeah, and that's maybe the one baseball player I could have gotten because of the Jewish baseball player. But yeah, Brian Sean Green is what we.
Okay, and back over to Juan Fanta.
Yeah, I had this one right away. It was either Derek Fisher or Brian Shaw. Once you kind of read that, I was like, my head already went to one of those two. And then I remember this day, May 23rd, 2002, when Sean Green hit the 4 homers. Mason, you probably don't, but I actually remember this day. As soon as you said it's 4 home run people, I assumed Sean Green would be one of the answers. So we also checked in with Brian Sean Green.
Well, you're not wrong. I can't let a 4 home run quarter go by without mentioning Sean Green. It is true. And yeah, I always forget. He's one of those, I mean, until Ohtani came along and broke the record, he's one of the most unlikely to me team record home run guys, just because you had Duke Snider and you had, I don't know, Steve Garvey in there, I guess.
He was a really good player that people don't give enough credit to.
100%. 100%. All right, let's move on to question number 3. Arguably the most famous bronze medalist in Olympic history, who won the 1968 bronze medal in Mexico City in the 200 meters, and the career home run leader for players from Puerto Rico, who hit 4 home runs in a game on September 25th, 2003.
We're checked in.
All right. Juan Fanta has checked in. Shooting blanket chips. You get to talk it out.
I'm pretty sure this is Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos was like the king of Spain or something like that. Or you can tell me to go eat humble pie.
Oh, gosh. Okay. It was in the 200, right? Because that didn't come through on the chat. You know, I'll trust you because I don't have the Olympic stuff down. I have the baseball. And if you feel more confident about it than I do, you feel more confident about that. So I would trust you.
I do think it's Juan Carlos Delgado.
Yeah. Perfect.
Do you want a Fanta? What'd you have?
Yeah, thankfully Scott had the second half that helped me out a lot. So I was just thinking, okay, 68, very famous Olympics. I had a couple of names in mind, and we said Carlos Delgado made sense. So yeah, it's Juan Carlos Delgado.
Both teams are receiving points. Carlos Delgado with 473 home runs does have more home runs career than anybody else born in Puerto Rico. And of course, yeah, everyone knows the famous scene with Juan Carlos. I can still remember sitting at a track meet. I don't know, it must have been 20 years ago. It was the Olympic trials, and they were marching out different famous Olympians, and Juan Carlos came out. And of course, this is in Eugene, Oregon, so very sympathetic crowd anyway. But I think 3/4 of the crowd just stood up and sort of saluted him in an appropriate way. It was pretty cool.
Look, so, I trusted Josh if it was Juan Carlos Delgado. It totally works.
Well, it does, but Josh is also right that Juan Carlos was the king of Spain. So that was also correct.
We've got a Jermichael Finley on the front end if you did Giancarlo Stanton.
That is, yes, very true. Well, if I want to work the king of Spain into a question, I can do that. All right. Question number 4. Unanimous 2025 AL Rookie of the Year, who hit 4 home runs on July 25th, 2005, and catcher who hit 143 home runs in a 16-year career, most prominently with the A's, and on October 21st, 2025, was named the new manager of the Anaheim Angels.
We could check in.
All right, another fast check-in by shooting blanket chips. You want a Fanta? Have at it.
But yeah, the first half is the Rookie of the Year, Nick Kurtz, and then flows nice with Kurt Suzuki. So yeah, we're going to go with Nick Kurt Suzuki.
All right, and shooting blanket chips?
We had the exact same thing.
Perfect. All right. Well, everybody got it. There was a little bit of I wouldn't say that one flows exactly perfectly, but not enough that Ede would make fun of me. So yes, correct answer is Nick Kurt Suzuki. And everybody went perfect in that round. So at the end of the first quarter, we are at 100 to 100.
We wanted to let you know that we are on Patreon if you'd be interested in supporting us financially. Your contributions will be used to help us cover the costs that it takes to bring you the high-quality sports trivia you have come to expect from us. There's also some great perks that come with the Patreon membership to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast, including bonus episodes and Benchwarmers swag. You can find us at patreon.com/benchwarmerstp. Thanks.
All right, today's second quarter will be the missing link.
The missing link. This quarter will consist of 5 questions with theme-linked answers. The teams will attempt to answer the questions and guess the theme. Each question is worth 20 points. A correct guess to the theme before the fifth question will earn the first team 100 points. The other team can still earn 50 points with a correct theme guess. If neither team has identified the correct theme before the fifth question, both teams can still earn 50 points with a correct theme guess.
Question number 1 of our missing link. This uniform number was retired last year by the New York Mets, even though the player they retired it for is not in the MLB Hall of Fame. The same number is the most recently retired number by the Philadelphia Eagles, who retired it in 2013, and that player also isn't in the Football Hall of Fame. Name the number.
We will check in.
Juana Fanta has checked in, shooting blanket chips. Let's hear you talk it out.
Yeah, Josh, I think you're right on track. So I remember, I feel pretty confident that the baseball player that was retired was David Wright. One of the very notable Davids out there in baseball, at least at the time, until we got David Freese for a hot second, or David DeJesus as well. But especially with what it says in the question about retiring the jersey in 2013, that feels like Donovan McNabb. And both that really also lines up with the number 5 in my eyes.
I think it sounds right. Was 5 David Wright's number? Is my question for you. Do you know that pretty well? Because the only other players I can think of from the Eagles that would have been retired around that time potentially is like Brian Dawkins, Brian Westbrook, all the Bryans, Eric Allen, I don't know, but probably McNabb retired around 2010, 2011 after that year with Washington. Did they retire his number? I wasn't living in Philly then, so I feel like
they're absolutely going to retire McNabb's number. Philly didn't have a lot to go on and for a long time, and that was he brought them to the Super Bowl. So for them, it's not like in the Hall of Fame. They retired his number at whatever their stadium is.
Lincoln Financial Field. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think 5 makes the most sense.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go 5.
All right. Checking it in 5.
All right. And Joanna?
I am notoriously bad with jersey numbers, particularly in baseball, because it's just not something I pay attention to. And in any sport, really, I'm watching the action. But I thought David Wright made too much sense for the Mets last year. I mean, who else is it going to be? Jose Reyes, like Syndergaard. There weren't too many options, I didn't feel like. So, and I immediately knew David Wright wore number 5 because I can picture his MLB The Show cover. So it's like he's down, and because Albert Pujols was 5, so I remember like 2 of the most prominent NL players in that same time frame wore 5. And I absolutely knew that Donovan McNabb wore 5 because I got a Donovan McNabb jersey for Christmas when I was in 8th grade. And I had it for about 2 weeks before Terrell Rivers decided it would be cute to put paint on it in art class and kind of ruin it for me. So then, what I did though, when he wore his Michael Strahan Giants jersey, guess who threw a whole thing of black paint on Terrell Rivers' jersey as revenge? This guy right here. Mind you, Terrell Rivers, the tallest and meanest 7th grader I've ever seen in my life. Dude was like 6'8" in 7th grade. So it wasn't the best idea. I got chased through the hallways, and then it didn't go well. All that to say, we checked in number 5 for David Wright and Donovan McNabb.
That was David wrong.
that was quite a journey straight through Old Man Rivers, the first one, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the correct answer is number 5. Everybody got it correct. And yeah, I mean, the Eagles haven't retired that many numbers. I mean, they retired McNabb. Just before that, you mentioned it, Josh, was Brian Dawkins. Before that, it goes all the way back to Reggie White. So yeah, there haven't been many. There are a number of people who have retired, Hall of Fame number 5s. Cardinals retired Pujols, Astros retired Bagwell, Yankees, of course, DiMaggio, Reds, Johnny Bench, Orioles, Brooks Robinson. There have been some huge names. Royals, George Brett. I forgot about that one. But yeah, so our answer is 5. Question number 2. This 2006 WWE Hall of Fame inductee may be better known to modern wrestling fans as the dad of Four Horsemen Barry Windham, father-in-law to IRS Mike Rotunda, or the grandfather of Bray Wyatt or Bo Dallas. He also shared a name or nickname with the 1993 Cy Young Award winner.
We could check in.
All right. Shooting Blanketships has checked in. Do you want a Fanta? Or maybe Scott? You want to talk this out?
It's a little old school. It's a little old for me. What's his name? Jeez. Kendall Windham is Barry's brother. I don't like the Windham family, never did. They couldn't get over, except for the West Texas Rednecks of WCW. The 93 Cy Young Award winner.
I'm
Who would
thinking.
have won it in
I was
93?
I was thinking Greg Maddox for NL. So that'd be.
That might be his
I don't-
first one. Or second. I think he won it in 92.
Right. That's early. Does he have a nickname that I can think of that would be a wrestler, or any nickname you can think of off the top of your head?
No, 93. So that's Blue Jays, Phillies World Series year, right? Would it
Yeah.
have been a Blue Jay that won? Did Dave Stieb win?
No, not then.
He
He would
probably
have.
should
That wouldn't
have.
have been the right. That wouldn't have been the right time for him. I don't think he
Right,
did.
because Pat Henkin won a Cy Young Award in the 90s, but I think it was later, like midnight, like 94, 95 for Toronto.
This is also a pitcher with a famous nickname, famous enough that we would know it, like associated with a nickname, some sort of way.
Yeah,
It has to be notable enough for us to recognize it that way.
I'm trying to
I'm
just
struggling
think
to
of
think of anyone.
I'm trying to think of the '06 Hall of Fame. I mean, it's one of those things where I kind of get all those mixed up, the years for the Hall of Fame. There's now obviously it's been around so long that there's hundreds of people that have been inducted now. Blackjack Mulligan's in my head.
That works for a nickname. What's his name? Jack.
Blackjack or
pitcher.
Mulligan? Jack Morris?
No, the other Jack in the 90s pitcher. Well, I can't think of his last name. There's a guy nicknamed Blackjack. He's a pitcher in the 90s. I think White Sox maybe somewhere. I don't remember his name. There's a guy. If
Jack
that.
McDowell?
Yes.
Okay.
That
So we just
works.
want the nickname, right? Hall of Fame inductee.
The Hall of Fame inductee.
No, we want the Hall of Fame inductee. Okay, so we are going to check in with Blackjack Mulligan.
All right, and over to Shooting Blanketships.
Yeah, that's exactly what we said as well. And it's Jack McDowell for the White Sox.
Well, never doubt Dave when he starts. Can you count us back Cy Young's all the way back to 1993? No, don't. You might get
Save that for a list. Or
yeah,
something.
you might get your chance
Patreon
later.
episode.
But yes, Jack McDowell did win. Stanford grad, did go to the White Sox, won the Cy Young then. The answer is Blackjack Mulligan. Scott, I didn't think you were going to get there. And then out of nowhere, it was just, boom, there was Blackjack Mulligan. I remember when I was a kid, I'd watched WWF, and Blackjack Mulligan's big finishing move was the claw, and he would put it on people until they started to bleed, and they would have a big X on the screen because back then you couldn't show anybody bleeding on television. All right. Well, our themed linked answers so far are 5 and Blackjack Mulligan. Question number 3, university and team name of the only Ivy League school to win at least 2 NCAA ice hockey tournaments. It's also the alma mater of MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred, Pop Warner, NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman, Joe Nieuwendyk, and Ken Dryden.
We'll check in.
All right, Ioana Fanta has checked in. Shooting Blanketships, you get to talk this out.
Based on schools that are they're all most of them are in the Northeast anyway. But I thought first of Harvard and the Crimson, but seems like we needed a different shade. So we're going over to New York State to Cornell, Big Red.
And Ioana Fanta, what'd you have?
Yeah, we're kind of in the same ballpark. I was just going through all the Ivy League schools trying to think of something that fit. And yeah, we're leading in the same direction. So we also went with Cornell, Big Red.
All right, both teams are receiving points. Yeah, Harvard has won an NCAA championship. I think Yale has run an NCAA championship, but Cornell has run a couple. And Ken Dryden, a lot of people may remember he was the one who was sitting next to Al Michaels during the Miracle on Ice. He didn't talk as much. Obviously, Al Michaels is the one that made all the attention, got all the attention, but Ken Dryden was sitting there, I think, in his sweater. So anyway, our themed linked answers so far are Blackjack Mulligan, 5, and Cornell Big Red. Question number 4. For the first 10 years of their existence, the Mariners logo featured this object in some form, the same object that was used to celebrate home runs during the Mariners' run to the ALCS in 2025.
Check in.
We'll check in as well.
All right, this sounds like a candidate for a 3-2-1. 3, 2, 1.
Trident.
That is correct. All right, well, there's no mystery with these folks since they've probably reverse engineered everything I'm going to do from this point forward, at least for this quarter. Blinked answers so far are 5, Blackjack Mulligan, Cornell Big Red, and Trident. Question number 5. Tiger Stadium was the last American League stadium to install lights in 1948. A full 40 years before this stadium became the last National League park to install lights. I told you I'm making my games easier. Okay. All right, everybody. 3, 2, 1.
Wrigley
Field.
All right. Very good. The answer is Wrigley Field, of course. So our theme linked answers in total are 5, Blackjack Mulligan, Cornell Big Red, Trident, and Wrigley Field. All right, here's your backup. You ready? We'll do this before we get to the actual theme. Appropriately, this is a term often used for the first goal of a game. It's often used also to describe a short activity or game designed to help participants in a meeting or group feel more comfortable. Everybody nodding. Yes, that is, of course, icebreakers.
Yeah,
okay.
icebreaker.
Well, both teams have submitted correct answers. One team was slightly before the other, and that team was Ioana Fanta. So let's hear the story from Mason or Scott about what was your tip-off.
Yeah, we were not there. We were thinking of gambling. We were at card games and roulette tables because of 5 and black, and even red almost still got me on roulette. Luckily, Scott had sent, as soon as I sent Cornell Big Red as my thought, just because it fit the card game thing, he said it's gum and he sent it right away. I knew 2 of them. I'm not familiar with blackjack, but I knew the other ones, and
I didn't know blackjack
felt
either.
right.
That one came from a hint from our emeritus Dan. I was using icebreakers, and he said that'll be too obvious. I wanted to keep it a bit of a mystery until number 3, and then I knew the Dan.
I thought the gum was called Mulligan.
Which should be kind of cool, actually. That's like if you don't like the gum and you throw it away and you get to start again. On the strengths of getting the missing link in just ahead of the other team, we have a small lead now. Ioana Fanta is at 300. Shooting Blanket Chips is at 250. That will bring us to halftime.
It is now time for the halftime show. There will be 3 entertainment questions, with each question worth 25 points.
Since Scott wasn't here last time, but he's back now, it's time for the return of Dad Jokes meets the Benchwarmers. And I love this for Scott because he said once that he hated this, but he was oddly good at it. So
I don't think I've ever gotten one wrong. I just roll my eyes the entire way.
That as well you should. So each answer is going to be a popular idiom or proverb. For example, if I said make sure quarterbacks Norm Van Brocklin, Dan Fouts, Marcus Mariota, etc. are lined up, you say make sure your ducks are in a row. Or it could be like this. I'll trade you the Memphis basketball coach for your opinions. Your answer would be a penny for your thoughts. Question number 1. Bowling 3 straight strikes outside in a Minnesota winter, or some bench warmers suffering through a dry January.
We can check in.
All right. Super fast check-in by Shooting Blanket Chips. Let's hear Ioana Fanta talk this out.
Yeah, it's got to be cold turkey.
Yep.
That's it. There's not much to say.
All
to it.
right.
Yeah, we'll go with
All right, I'll take
cold
that as a
turkey.
check-in. Shooting Blanket Chips. I assume you had the same.
Mason just gave the most low energy level of disappointment in that. It was just, yeah, we can check in. Yeah, we said cold turkey.
I guess this is the thing we're doing now.
Yeah.
It's not a
That's
wild
how my
turkey.
students act when I teach. That's how they act when I teach. So you know what? I'm reciprocating it.
Okay. Both teams got it. It is cold turkey. It's true. Yes. I think I probably didn't need the extra hint, but there it was. All right. We'll move on to question number 2. It's not so much that Saquon Barkley jumped over Jerry and Jones. It's more when he came down to earth that was impressive. But it's not like he was on the moon.
We'll check in.
All right. Ioana Fanta has checked in. Shooting Blanket Chips. You get to talk this out.
Does Saquon Barkley have a nickname? Is that or Eagle?
Yeah,
Wait! I got it. There we go. The Eagle has landed. Spaceship landed on the moon.
Oh my gosh, that makes so much more sense. Yes.
It's not rocket science, is where I started here, but I overthought it.
Literally, once we got the moon thing, I was going back to the orbit thing from before, and now I was like, that's all that's in my head. But yeah, that's a good answer. I like that. Lock it in.
All right. We have a check-in. Ioana Fanta, what you guys have?
Yeah, sadly, I had this one right away. The Eagle has landed. What we checked in on.
Both teams have got it before people have too much pain and have from rolling their eyes. We'll move quickly on to number 3. The career home run leader for the Mets until Pete Alonso came along was just a little too much for the Campbell University mascot to carry around.
Scott.
We check in. Yep.
All right, another fast check-in. from Shooting Blanket Chips. Juana Fanta, talk it out.
This is the strawberry that broke the camel's back. I don't think I've heard that one before.
No, it's
but-
just Straw because Straw's his nickname.
Oh, I know. I'm just messing. I'm just messing with
Gotcha.
David. That must be his version of it. Way
Yeah.
back in the day when it first started, and it just changed into straw.
Is that a check-in, Mason?
No, I was just picturing you riding a camel. That's all.
Well, I mean, that when David was in college, that was the only mode of transportation. So yeah.
His school was the pyramid. He just would go straight. Straight.
Yeah. Oh, my.
He was classmates with all the pharaohs.
All right. Are you done? Are you checked in? You got it? Yes.
Too many jokes in a quarter about jokes.
That's true. Are you done,
It's
Mason?
not jokes you like. It's okay. Yeah, we'll check in with the straw that broke the camel's back. So you
All
don't
right.
figure it anymore.
That would be great. Thank you. And Shooting Blanket Chips.
It was the camel that brought it back to me because I love that mascot. Yeah, I do want to know more about David's classmates at Pyramid University. What kinds of were the intercollegiate sports of hawk racing and I don't know.
I mean, great at crew down the Nile. Ooh.
Oh yeah,
Class of 2026 BC.
yeah. This is a real come to Moses moment.
All right.
I
Yeah,
like
we
a
said-
come to Moses moment. It sounds
Yeah,
like the
it is a
better
come
one.
to Moses moment.
Moses Malone.
Yep, and that might have been the straw that broke the camel's back of this podcast.
That's correct. All right. Both teams have received their points, and David's going to move us on as quickly as possible. At the end of halftime, we have scores of Juana Fanta still with a 50-point lead at 375, Shooting Blanket Chips with 325. However, Shooting Blanket Chips should not panic because today's third quarter is Lucky 7.
Lucky 7. For this quarter, there will be 3 lists containing 7 items. The team that is trailing coming into the quarter will choose the first list and attempt to identify the items on that list one at a time. If the team has an incorrect guess, the other team can attempt to finish out that list. The other team will select the second list, and whichever team is trailing after the first 2 lists will get the third list. Each item is worth 10 points.
All right, here we go. Our Lucky 7 categories are: question 1, 7 NFL teams that have never had an AP MVP, including shared MVPs in the Super Bowl era. Question number 2, this year, U.S. Winter Olympians represent 32 different states. I want you to name the 7 states that are represented by at least 10 Olympians. And question number 3, I would like the 7 wrestlers who have had the most appearances in the Royal Rumble without winning. Now, I will tell you, there's a hell of a number of sources on this on the interwebs, and every one of them seems to be different. So I have tried my best to distill down to the top 7, but there's a tie for number 7. So in typical fashion, if you guess one of the 7, I will tell you later who the other one was, but we'll cross off both. Okay? Our first choice goes to Shooting Blanket Chips, who can now tell us which one they want to go with.
We'll go number 1.
So Shooting Blanket Chips has selected they want to do question number 1, which is the 7 NFL teams that have not had an AP MVP, including shared MVPs in the Super Bowl era. I will give you a few minutes to come up with your list.
We can check in.
All right. We have a check-in from Shooting Blanket Chips. Let's hear your list of the 7 NFL teams that have not had an AP MVP in the Super Bowl era.
We're going to start with the Arizona Cardinals.
Cardinals are correct.
New Orleans Saints.
New Orleans Saints is correct. Drew Brees was close many times, as we've discussed in prior podcasts, but never won.
How about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
The Buccaneers have not had one. That is correct. Somewhat surprising, I think, but yes.
Houston Texans.
Yes, that is correct. Okay.
We'll go with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The Jaguars are correct.
We'll go with did you say the Philadelphia Eagles? Oh, no. We'll go Philadelphia Eagles.
Philadelphia Eagles is correct. Again, as we've discussed on the podcast recently, Randall Cunningham got close, but never won. And your 7th answer is?
The New York Jets.
The New York Jets is correct. You have successfully run the list. Well done. Not a huge surprise when one of the players on the team knows every single MVP of every single sport since the beginning of humankind. All right. So we now switch back to Juana Fanta. I think we all know which one they're going to take. Which one will it be?
We are going to take most of our Rumble appearances without winning.
We'll give you a couple minutes to think about it.
We're checked in.
Juan Fanta has checked in and is ready to give me Royal Rumble participants. Let's hear your list. Kane. I'll give you everybody that goes with Glenn Jacobs because he entered as Isaac Yankem. He is number 1 on the list. Well done.
Yep. The Miz.
The Miz is on the list.
Kofi Kingston.
Kofi Kingston is on the list.
I can get one more, right, Mason? The Big Show.
The Big Show is on the list. Well done. You're at 4.
Yep. And that's all I want to be at. So Dave can pick up the last 3. I'm going to go with Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan is not correct.
Boo.
That's
Could have said anyone else. You should have said Hacksaw.
Joanna Fanta has picked up 4, which means we go back to shooting blanket chips to see if they can pick up the other 3.
Dolph Ziggler is up there.
Dolph Ziggler is actually, depending on what list you look at, is number 2 or 3 on the list. Yes.
I believe Goldust is up there as well.
Goldust is up there as well. Now you're down to the 2 guys who were tied for the last spot in at least most sources.
So the one that I'm going to think of is the guy who is having a resurgence on AEW. The man is just getting closer and closer to 50 every day, and it just looks freaking immaculate, especially because I've met him in person. I want to say Shelton Benjamin is also up there.
Shelton Benjamin is one of the people who is tied for number 7. Well done. You have completed the list. The other one, it's funny because I thought you were going to the other guy who's also got to be approaching 50, and that's tied with Shelton Benjamin on most of the list that I saw, is Chris Jericho. Shooting blanket chips is at 425, and Joanna Fanta is at 415, which means Joanna Fanta gets the last list. So, just to remind everyone, because it's been a while, this year, U.S. Winter Olympians represent 32 different states, but there are 7 states that are represented by at least 10 Olympians. So I'm looking for those 7 states, and I will give Joanna Fanta a minute, 30 seconds to talk this out. Or not to talk it out, sorry, to think it out, and then tell me when they're ready.
I'll send you my list. These are the ones.
Yeah, you said you had 7. Just go for it. So
I narrowed it down to these. I think that's probably the order I'll go in, or something close to that.
Put them in confidence order.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would think.
Yeah.
Unless you want to move something around, I feel like that's a pretty good ranking of them if I had to put them.
Yeah, no.
Those last 2 are kind of discompetent, but feel right because of the
No, I
winter
get
sports,
it.
right? They fit that. So
Agreed.
okay, you good with that?
I am.
Okay, all right, David. We will check in.
All right, Joanna Fanta has checked in, and before you give me any answers, a special shout out to Tim Simplot, who sent in this question just in the last couple of days, and I've decided to use it. So thank you, Tim. All right, Mason, let's hear your list.
We're going to start with Colorado.
Colorado is correct and is actually number 1 with 30 athletes.
Okay, next we will go Michigan.
Michigan is number 5 with 15 athletes.
Okay, next we will go with hashtag too much of it, Minnesota.
Minnesota, 24, is number 2.
And then we'll stay in that area and go with Wisconsin.
Wisconsin is not on the list. I think they were just
All
off.
right.
So
Sorry, Scott.
No, it's fine. Hey, we picked up 30.
All right.
20, 30, 30.
So now, shooting blanket chips, there are 4 more for you to pick up.
If I remember correctly, I think Wisconsin only has 6 Olympians. Hearing their names, we don't have a lot to talk about in Wisconsin.
They said Colorado, Minnesota, and Michigan were the ones they got, right?
Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
Definitely Utah.
Yeah.
Okay. Utah is correct. Number 4 with 17.
I would think New York is probably right too, right, Josh?
I'd agree with that. It's just the population and training centers and previous Winter Olympics host spots. So I'd say New York.
Okay. New York is number 6 with 14.
What about Massachusetts? Because we got all the hockey people over there too.
I was thinking about skiers in like Vermont. I don't know. Any other Midwest states that were missing that just are snowbound or anything like that? Nevada,
Not really.
Vail or anything like that?
Did we say California? We did say California.
We did not say California.
Yeah.
Actually,
what are we talking about? The most popular. We got to say California.
Let's go California.
California is number 3 with 19.
Okay.
Yep.
Whew. Worried about that. So we have 1 left.
Yeah.
Okay.
go with whatever your gut feels on this, because I could totally see it being the either one of the two hugging states. What is that, Vermont or New Hampshire? But like I said, I feel like Massachusetts might have a lot of the hockey players, just because that's where hockey is very popular.
Okay, let's go with that. Try Massachusetts.
Massachusetts is number 7. You have completed the list. Yeah, there aren't that many people in Vermont or New Hampshire, and a lot of the skiers are from Massachusetts. So if they ski in Vermont or New Hampshire, it's a good bet they're from the Boston area. So between the two teams, you have actually completed all 3 of my lists. Well done. And we have a very close game going into the fourth quarter. Shooting Blankenchips has 465 points, and Joanna Fanta has 445 points. That will bring us to the fourth quarter.
The fourth quarter, known as Put Your Fours Up. This quarter consists of 4 categorized questions that the teams will wager up to 100 points each, not to exceed their current point total.
Our fourth quarter tonight is going to be extremely baseball heavy. In fact, all 4 questions are about Major League Baseball. So question number 1 is going to be postseason awards, Major League Baseball. Question number 2, regular season awards. That's right, Major League Baseball. Question 3, postseason hitting, Major League Baseball. And question 4, regular season whiffing, Major League Baseball. It's now time for the teams to place their wagers.
We'd like to take a minute to invite you to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Benchwarmers TP. We also have a Facebook group for fans of the show called The Bench. Join us there to comment on the latest episodes and interact with the rest of the Benchwarmers community. If you would be able to rate us on iTunes, Stitcher, or any other podcast app, we'd greatly appreciate the support so that other people may find this podcast. Thanks.
And now that the wagers are in, on to the questions. Question number 1, postseason awards. Since 1970, there have been only 2 players who have won multiple World Series MVPs. Both have won for 2 different teams. One was in the 70s, and the other in the last 10 years. I want you to name both.
We could check in.
Wow. Fast check-in by Shooting Blankenchips. Joanna Fanta is going to walk us through every tight end who's won a World Series MVP. Go.
Yeah, Seager for sure, because
Yep. And then I'm
Dodgers
thinking
majors.
Reggie Jackson. I mean, they gave him a nickname about playing in October.
I think he did win when the A's three-peated. I think he
Right,
did
and
get
then
one of them.
The Yanks won in what, like 77, 78, end of the 70s.
Yeah, I think they won back-to-back. Yeah, they won back-to-back in the 70s.
And so it would make sense,
I mean,
right?
that's really the only main high-profile player that would have played on multiple World Series teams.
Well, that's the
Right,
thing,
so
right?
think
Because
about-
especially in the 70s, because of the dynasties, you had the A's and you had the Big Red Machine. So like that's half of the decade right there.
Pirates in 79, but
Right. And
it's
then
not,
you've got is there an Orioles in 70 maybe, right? Before the A's.
Yeah,
But
I think the Pirates actually won another one in the 70s early on. I think they won one before.
Right. So
maybe-
because there's only so many teams that have won, you got to think of a player that we know at
Maybe
least
played
played
for
for
both.
2 teams that won a World Series in that decade.
I think he did win one with the A's just because of Anchorman. I remember Gene Tennis won one. I think he did win one with the A's. He won one with the Yankees. So
All right.
I think it has to be. I don't overcomplicate it here.
Yeah. All right, David, we're checking in with Reggie Jackson and Corey Seager for 100 points.
Okay. And Shooting Blankenchips?
We said the exact same thing.
That is correct. And I'm amazed. Scott and Mason, you guys were breaking down the 70s pretty well. So the A's won in 72, 73, 74. And it was Gene Tennis. When you said that, I could not believe that because he was the obscure one. But Gene Tennis, I think, was the guy who hit home runs in his first ever 2 World Series at-bats, which I think is what propelled him to the MVP. Reggie won in 73, and then Raleigh Fingers won in 74. Then Reggie bounced at some point to the Orioles for a season, and in 77, that's when he hit 3 home runs in a game, and that's what started the Reggie chants and the Reggie chocolate bars, and it was a whole thing. In 78 was when Bucky Dent, right after he knocked the Red Sox out, breaking my heart, he then went on to win the World Series MVP. So our correct answers are Cody Seager and Reggie Jackson. Well done. Well done. All right.
Corey
Question
Seager.
What did I
Our
say?
secret brother we didn't know about. Cody.
Sorry, Corey Seager. Sorry.
It's the
I was
forgotten
like,
seeker.
I was
Corey Jackson sounds like an 80s heartthrob.
Yes.
All right, question number 2. Regular season awards. Who's the only player ever to win 3 consecutive Gold Gloves, but for 3 different teams? Doing so in 2014, 2015, and 2016 for 3 different National League teams.
That's a good question. I didn't know someone did this, but apparently.
All right, we can check in.
All right, once again, we've got a check-in from Shooting Blanketships. Juan Fanta, do you want to talk this out?
Yeah, this is going to take a little bit of time. I think this is where Josh will potentially get mad at us. I think my head went to shortstop, but maybe that's just because I was thinking of Omar Vizquel. I think I just need to think of like good defenders around that time, and then kind of
Something that
map out.
bounced around. Like,
Yeah.
why would he be bouncing around so much?
Well, there are a lot of like shortstops
Praise.
that were like Jose Iglesias, for example, right? Is like a very good defensive shortstop who could never really find a permanent home once he left Boston. But that doesn't work because he played for the Tigers. He was more of an AL guy. Andrelton Simmons, I thought, but he went from the Braves to the Angels, so
Angels.
that's not.
And he
an
didn't
AL.
bounce around at that point.
Yeah.
Not that.
Then I
point.
thought like Javi Baez, but he wasn't even in the league in 2014 or barely.
Yeah, I think it's got to be outfield because it's not catcher first or third because there's too many. There's the guys that like Arenado won all of third. First base was like Goldschmidt and Rizzo, where it's like
And
they,
catcher was
nobody else
probably
would have gotten.
Well, Jason Hayward,
Oh, Braves,
Cardinals,
Cubs,
Dodgers, or Braves, Cubs,
Cubs,
Dodgers, or
2016,
Cardinals.
2016 Cubs. So yes, I like that. He would have won a few around that time.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
name.
like, he won enough more Gold Gloves for sure.
Yeah, let's do that then.
And yeah.
All right, David, we're going to check in Jason Hayward for 100 points.
All right, and Shooting Blanketships, what'd you have?
Same guy. Yeah, Josh sent over Paul Goldschmidt. And the minute that he said that, it sort of locked in the Cardinals connection, for me at least. And we said the exact same thing of Jason Hayward, who 4 straight Gold Gloves, I believe.
Could be, but not with
2017
four,
is 2.
not with 4 different teams.
No,
Right.
of course not.
Right.
He has 5 total, if I remember.
Yeah, I mean, and he has a hell of an arm from memory serves. I mean, so
His offense may have dropped off.
Yes,
his defense
big
did.
time, for sure. Yes, the correct answer is Jason Hayward. Scott, this is the second time in this game that you had sort of a out of nowhere came in, name dropped in. So well done to both teams. Okay, question number 3, postseason hitting. Who holds the record for the all-time longest postseason hitting streak at 20 games? The streak ended in 2023, and in the last 2 years, he made the All-Star team both seasons, but not the postseason.
We will check in, David.
All right. Once again, Shooting Blanketships has checked in. Juan Fanta, time to talk this out.
I think we've kind of narrowed it down to 2 players. Could both be wrong.
So my train of thought was, okay, ended in 2023. Maybe it's a player that played in the World Series because they would have accumulated all of the games in the 2023 postseason leading up to that. And maybe prior playoff experience. Yeah. So a Ranger or a D-back would possibly do this. And we're down to Ketel Marte and Marcus Semien.
Yeah, Semien has more playoff experience. I think he would have had more chances because he went with the Blue Jays and with the Rangers. For Marte, before 2023, I can't remember the Diamondbacks making the postseason.
And if they did, it was not for very long. So maybe he had a.
That's what I'm thinking. And he was also in Seattle. He was in Seattle before the D-backs, and they definitely did not make the playoffs, as Marcus would tell you, while he was there. So I'm leaning Semien based on that, about the amount of chances to play games in the playoffs. But I'm leaning Marte when it comes to someone that we know has been an all-star the past 2 seasons.
Right.
Semien is one of those guys I feel like that just has like these accolades that people forget about. I think I like Semien better, but only because I just like that he would have had more of a chance to play 20 playoff games.
Because I don't know how many they would have played just in the 2023. I'm just trying to do the math. I mean, yeah, you would have to have played sometime before to get.
I was gonna say it can't be more than 20 in one postseason, and like maybe they went in like 21, but if they did, they were like swept out most likely.
I'm good with Semien. I don't have a way to distinguish these two because they're about the same for me.
Yeah. All right, David, we're going to check in with Marcus Semien for 100 points.
Okay, and shooting blanket chips.
We went the other route. That 2023 D-backs team played a buttload of games. If I can think of it correctly, I think they played 16 games in their 2023 run to the World Series. So we went with Ketel Marte for 100 points.
One team is receiving points, and it's so aggravating to hear the talk out and go the other side of the coin. The correct answer is Ketel Marte. This was mostly in 2023. There was a hitting streak that goes back to 2017. The Diamondbacks made it, and I think they beat Colorado maybe in like the play-in game and then lost to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So Ketel Marte, his streak ended into the World Series, maybe game 4, something around there. You guys were super close. You should have gone with the All-Star hint for sure. This was the longest hitting streak in postseason history. He passed Hank Bauer, if you remember, old Yankee, and I think Cardinal. Yeah, Yankee and Cardinal. Manny Ramirez and Derek Jeter all had streaks of 17 games.
I had the Manny mark.
Yep, sure enough. All right. Well, we won't talk about the scores. Let's just get on to our last question. In regular season whiffing. So, in 2007, in his first full season, what A's outfielder led the American League in strikeouts, even though he had fewer than 400 at-bats? In his career, he won 3 strikeout titles, but only qualified for 1 batting title. As bad as he was, at least we don't have to beep out his name on the podcast.
David, we will check in.
All right. So, Juan Fanta has checked in for the last time tonight, shooting blanket chips. This is your turn to talk it out.
Anything here, Dave? Like, I'm really going for name.
Trying to work off of the last part because that's the thing that's bothering me is the beep.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait, are we? Okay. So when I was looking at it, I'm again reading it wrong, and I'm thinking about we don't have to beep out the name, thinking that it is a swear word as a last name, but
it is part of his name, and therefore we don't have to beep it out.
Well, I'm thinking that it's Cust. This is Jack Cust.
Ooh, that's nice. That's a good answer because Mark Reynolds.
You know what?
Played for the A's.
Beep out Mark Reynolds just for being Mark Reynolds.
The sheriff of Swattingham. Okay.
And again, that tracks for his time in being an A. I know he had just a boatload of strikeouts altogether.
That tracks is a very Lux answer. It's egregious again. So
yeah.
Mark
All right,
Cust.
let's check in with Jack Cust.
Cust, not Mark Cust.
Yeah, that's Mark Reynolds and Jack Cust fusion. We go with Jack Cust for 100 points.
All right, and back to Juan Fanta for the last time.
Yeah, I had this pretty early on. Once my brain went back to 07 because I heard 17, I was like, this is definitely Jack Cust. Like all he did was strike out. And he didn't play that often, so the at-bats made sense. It all just lined up. This dude was like a prospect since like the year 2000 in like the Orioles system, and was one of these guys that would get a cup of coffee, then get sent back down, and then finally came up in 07. Hit some homers with the A's, but struck out all the time. And then the name thing made sense. We also checked in for 100 points with Jack Cust.
Yes, so with 164 Ks and only 395 at-bats in 2007, 197 Ks in 481 at-bats, and then 185 Ks in 530. He finally got it under control in 2009 when he had 185 Ks in 513 at-bats, and more respectable for the time. It is, in fact, Jack Cust. Yes, longtime prospect. And yeah, that was my subtle hint. I thought that nobody could fairly get this without some kind of a stupid play on words. And since I'm good for a stupid play on words,
you had an entire quarter for that. David.
That's correct. Right. But I needed one more in the end here. So our game has come to an end. And here are the final scores. Jawanta Fanta finished with a very respectable 645 points. But our clipboard captains of the game, who are receiving the coveted Jarrett Stidham Award, sorry, guys, with 865 points, is shooting blanket chips. Well, anybody want to say anything before we call it?
This would have been a perfect opportunity to give the coveted Jack Cust Award.
I try to stick to the back. I try to stick to the backup quarterbacks, and was amazed that no one had given a Stidham Award yet. So there you go.
I almost did on on Sunday's episode, and I decided once the Patriots won, Josh Dobbs feels apropos.
Yeah, but I think he's been used. Stidham has not.
He might be used in the Super Bowl. You never know.
Whoa! Stidham has never been used, and I missed that opportunity.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh man,
yeah.
I'm I don't.
I always make sure that my guys don't repeat, so I can tell you.
Because every time a team trades for Stidham, he becomes the presumed starter.
All right. Anyone have anything to say about the game or about the competition before we go?
I'll say. I also wanted to say for Jack Cust, he was on that Mitchell report as well, so that explains a lot.
Those
That's
home
right.
runs. Yeah.
Well, it takes some steroids to strike out that many times. All right. Well, on behalf of Scott, Mason, Dave, and Josh, I should have said our first, all the other Benchwarmers, all of our patrons, I want to thank everybody for listening to the Benchwarmers Trivia Podcast. And until next time, we'll keep the Benchwarmers.
That ball hit high and deep. Stretch! Get on back there. They look up. You can put it on the board. Yes!
The pitch from Matt Silvano. A drive deep to right field. Down the line. The Mariners win this game 2-1. The dream lives. They're going to the playoffs. The drought is over. Cal Raleigh. Wow. Hey now.
Want more trivia? Follow us at Benchwarmers TP on all social platforms for more sports facts and trivia. That's at Benchwarmers TP.